fire found me in a Manhattan penthouse version of the Taj Mahal. The Sultan in charge was Mr. Frank Grace. It was his first shop which had gone up in smoke. If one believed Mr. Grace's side of the story, he had good reason to be more than somewhat disturbed over the incident. I was listening to his tale of woe, trying to decide whether or not I believed it. If my decision were to be positive, a goodly fee was involved. Well, who was I to be a disbeliever?
So you see, Mr. Diamond, until the insurance company decides I had nothing to do with the fire, I can't collect damages.
Well, Mr. Grace, did you have anything to do with the fire?
I'm hiring you to prove I didn't.
Well, under the circumstances, Mr. Grace, that's a pretty tall order.
That's why, under the circumstances, I'm offering you a pretty tall fee.
Now, the police already know that it's arson. They found the remnants of some kerosene-soaked rags.
And?
And since a man died in that fire, they're going to be looking for the arsonist doubly hard.
Agreed. So?
Well, so what I'm wondering is, Mr. Grace, why hire a private detective? If anyone can, the police will find you, man.
I'm sure they will. But sometimes police methods aren't the fastest.
Let's get something clear, Mr. Grace. If I take the case and I find the firebug, I'll turn him in no matter who he is.
Of course.
Well, just so we understand.
Let's stop fencing, Diamond. You don't have to tell me that I'm the leading candidate. Now, this will cover your expenses for the first week or so, and be one half your full fee. Now, here's the other half. You'll notice on the back I've written a notation.
To be honored upon the conviction of the Grace fur arsonist, no matter who it may be. Mr. Grace, you have hired yourself a private detective. Now, ordinarily, it's not the smartest thing in the world to park in a no-parking zone, especially in front of a police station. But then what's one ticket more or less on the expense account? Mr. Grace could afford it. Lieutenant, when are you ever going to learn that a neat desk is a sign of an orderly mind?
On the day you discover you won't mash your brains if you learn to sit in a chair right. Come in. Your shoemaker's personal effects, Lieutenant.
Yeah, I should say what's left of them.
Lab through with him?
Mm-hmm, nothing.
All right, get someone to take him out to his widow.
Yes, sir.
Rugged, huh? Poor guy minding his own business, doing some night work on Grace's books when there's a fire and up he goes.
He died from smoke poisoning, right?
Well, that and a somewhat charred exterior. So his wife gets to keep these as a memento.
Isn't it kind of odd that he should be working so late at night?
No, we checked that. He did it quite often. CPA, you know, several accounts. Sometimes he worked all night.
Yeah. You turn anything else up yet?
Not yet. Of course, we've been working with Jerry Fenton's boys.
Jerry Fenton, Jerry.
You'll remember Jerry. Used to be on the fire department, one of the arson squad.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's heading that up now. Rick, we've rounded up about every pyro in town. Do you want to go in and listen in?
Yeah, sure.
Rick, when are you going to turn on us and get back on the force?
When I get my brains smashed, Lieutenant.
No.
Lieutenant McGowan, I resent this invasion of my privacy. Every time there's a fire, no matter where I am, I get rousted out of bed and hustled down here.
Beanley?
Like a common... Beanley is the name.
Oh, of course. Excuse me, Mr. Beanley. Now, is it not true, Mr. Beanley, that at one time in your lit-up career you set fire to 4 warehouses and sat silently on the sidewalk while they made pretty smoke rings in the sky?
Oh, yes, but that was 15 years ago.
And is it not also true, Mr. Beanley, that at one time you set fire to the first pump of the gasoline station to test the octane rating?
Yes, but that was different.
Yes, it was the 4th of July. Now, goodbye, Mr. Beanley, and please forgive us for being the suspicious old fogies that we are. Come on, Rick. Jerry?
Hi, Mac. Hello, Diamond. You back with the department?
No, I'm just hanging around. How's it look?
Same as it always looks. Hopeless. Hey, Mac, will you take over for a minute? I need a break.
Sure, go ahead. Hello, Celia.
I swear to you, Lieutenant McGowan, I was nowhere near Fifth Avenue last night. I was home watching television, and then I went right to bed.
Mm-hmm. And, you didn't go out at all last night, hmm?
Honest, not once. After dinner, I sat down with my father and we watched television, just like I told you.
Now, Celia, I understand Officer Patrick saw you last night outside.
Oh, yes. I did go out for about 10 minutes at about 8:30. Mother needed some powdered sugar for some cookies she was making, and I went down to the corner store for it. And then I went right home. Honest, Lieutenant, that's the truth.
All right, Sadie, you can go now.
You mean I can...
No, that's all for now. We may call you again.
Thank you.
Hey, Mac, that Beanley guy.
What about him?
One of the patrolmen who was at the fire just came in and saw him in the line. He's sure he saw him watching the fire.
Well, bring him in. This might be the first break.
All right, Mr. Beanley.
Mr. Beanley.
Lieutenant McGo.
Sit down. Cigarette?
No, thank you. Well, may I?
Pretty color to a flame, isn't it, Mr. Beanley?
Oh, it's a bit too yellow for my taste, Lieutenant. Sulphur, you know.
Yes. You're quite a student of fires, aren't you?
But that doesn't mean that I start them now, does it?
No, but I understand you saw one over on 3rd Avenue last night.
Where'd you hear that?
One of our patrolmen saw you there.
Which patrolman?
Does that matter?
Yes, of course it matters. Because if he's one who's bucking for a promotion, he's lying.
This one isn't.
He's lying. He's lying anyway. He couldn't have seen me there.
Why not?
Because the only fire I saw last night was at 5th Avenue, the Grace Fur Company.
Well, is that right?
Yes, yes. I got there shortly after the fire started. I heard the fire engines and I came running. Well, there's nothing wrong with that now, is there? A lot of people follow the fire engines. Why, the late, great civic-minded mayor of our city, Fiorello LaGuardia, used to do it. I bet you nobody ever hauled him out of his bed for following fires. What's the matter? Why is everything so quiet here?
Mr. Beanley, what time did you get to that fire last night?
I'm not talking. I'm not saying anything until I see a lawyer. You guys are trying to pull something.
Mr. Beanley, we just want to ask you some questions now.
No. I know my rights. I'm not talking. I know my rights. I'm pleading on the 5th Amendment. The 5th Amendment, Mr. Fenton, not the 3rd, the 5th. I'm not talking on the grounds that it may tend to incriminate me. Zip, clamp, shut. See?
Now, Mr. Beanley, this is just a friendly conversation. We want to ask... Mr. Beanley. You want to stay, Rick?
No, thanks.
All right, stay with him, Bentley. This looks promising.
Now, come on, Mr. Beanley. Just one simple little question. This isn't going to hurt, Mr. Beanley.
Well, what do you think, Rick?
I don't know. It's a lead.
Oh, Lieutenant, I got somebody to deliver Shoemaker's personal effects.
No, good. And tell him to use a little tact.
Yes, sir.
Skip, hold on. Mac, I thought I'd go out and see the widow. I'll take the stuff out if you want.
What do you want to do that for?
Well, I don't know. It just occurred to me that Shoemaker's reflexes were a little slow not to have gotten out before the fire started.
Well, the smoke got to him first.
Yeah, you're probably right. I thought I'd see the widow anyway, okay?
Well, suit yourself, Rick. You're a big enough boy to go visiting on your own now.
No, Mr. Diamond. Ralph's heart was perfect. Why do you ask?
Just an idea.
Oh, poor Ralph. He was such a mild man, so kind, so opposed to violence, and then to die like this.
I'm afraid I'm upsetting you, Mrs. Shoemaker. I'll go.
Oh, no, that's all right. It's just the shock, the awful shock of it, and on top of that, the robbery.
The robbery?
Oh, yes. Yes, early this morning, while I was out, someone broke in the window and took all Ralph's books.
His books?
Yes, that was all. He always kept a duplicate set of everything he did. I think most CPAs do. Well, they're all gone.
Why would anyone want to steal a CPA's books?
Well, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that some other accountant wanted to take advantage of Ralph's not being here to try to pick up his clients.
Have you told the police about this?
Oh, no. No, I just couldn't bear talking to them again.
I understand. Mrs. Shoemaker, I hate to ask you anything at a time like this, but could you give me some information about your husband's clients?
Ralph had only 3 clients. He said it was always better to have a limited number of accounts and to service them properly.
Well, could you give me their names?
Oh, yes. There was the Grace Fur Company and the Saul Prince Health Clubs.
So you see, Mr. Grace, I have a feeling that, well, maybe it was more than just a simple case of arson. Maybe Shoemaker's death was not as accidental as it seems.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean that it'd be a nice, easy way of getting rid of somebody without anybody suspecting. Now, Mrs. Shoemaker told me that Mr. Shoemaker was in fine physical condition. He was only on the first floor. Why didn't he just jump out a window?
That's right. What do you intend to do?
Well, I thought I'd begin by checking the books of Shoemaker's 3 clients.
Sounds like a good idea. It's fine thinking, Diamond.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way, Mr. Grace, because you are first on the list.
You know my book's burned up in that fire.
You're right.
Well, where are you going?
I'm going to check the books of the other 2 clients. And you know something, boss? You better pray that one of them doesn't balance. My next stop was the late Mr. Shoemaker's second client, Saul Prince. Health club, impresario, extraordinary. Is the shape you're in a trim one? Well, I distinctly hope Mr. Prince wasn't as coy as his slogan. He wasn't. After a few moments with the great body, I wished he were.
You're sick. Just because some punk of an accountant gets himself burned up in a fire, you want to see my books.
Well, it's nothing personal, Mr. Prince. It's just that...
Look, Buster, nobody sees my books. Except me and the U.S. government. And the only time the government sees them is when one of their little snoopers comes around and tries to figure how he can up my taxes.
It sounds to me like you've got something to hide.
That's right. I got a lot to hide. The way I run my business, that's what I got to hide. And what comes in and what goes out is for my eyes and my eyes only.
What about Ralph Shoemaker's eyes?
Look, I don't know what you're getting at, Skinny, but whatever it is, get at it somewhere else, huh? I don't like people like you. You're all nose and no manners. I like polite people who let other people alone. So goodbye.
Goodbye. Mr. Prince, how much do you think it'd cost to make a big, strong man out of poor old little weak, impolite me? Shoemaker's third account was a toy factory. At last I felt I'd be in my element. Erectus et non. The owner, Fred Wilkins, was a nice guy. But when I mentioned his books...
Oh, I'm sorry I can't help you, Mr. Diamond. But, no, my books are a closed subject. I'm sure you can understand why.
I give you my word, Mr. Wilkins, no trade secrets will ever leave the premises.
Well, not that I don't trust you, Mr. Diamond, but I just don't where my business is concerned. No, if you were a police officer, it would be different, but a private detective, I'm sorry.
I can get the book subpoenaed, you know.
Oh, you're welcome to try. If it were anything else, do you have any kids, Mr. Diamond? Now, here's a new Junior G-Man set. Badge, cuffs, whistle, everything on it.
Mr. Wilkins, don't have any kids. Thanks a lot. Apparently, any information from Mr. Wilkins or Mr. Prince would have to be pried out of them. So I headed down to the station to see about those subpoenas. Well, I really must have been getting hot. Someone was awfully eager to cool me off.
Nothing wrong, tree, Rick.
All right, Mac. If the robbery of Shoemaker's books doesn't tie in with the fire and one of the 3 clients isn't involved, how come I get shot at?
You're a popular man.
Yeah, very popular, especially when I'm on my way in to get you to subpoena the records.
Okay, Rick, I'll put the subpoenas in work right away. It'll take a little time.
Oh, Mac, maybe all they need is time.
I'll put them in work right away, just in case you'd come on to something.
You still don't think so, huh?
Rick, I'd be inclined to agree with you, or at least show more enthusiasm, except for one little thing.
All right, Lieutenant, what is that one little thing?
Beanley.
Oh, what about Beanley?
He confessed.
Oh, a visitor. A member of the press, perhaps.
No, it's just me, Mr. Beanley.
Oh, Lieutenant McGold's young friend. Well, I'm very happy to see you. Won't you sit down?
Thank you very much. Now, Lieutenant McGold tells me that you've confessed to the Grace Fur fire.
Yes. Mr. Fenton said that in his opinion, it'll go down in the annals of the fire department as the greatest fire of this year. Oh, I know I sound like I'm bragging, Mr. Diamond, but...
I would say so, Mr. Beanley. I mean, a man must respect an expert in any field.
May I? Oh, they took away my matches.
Well, here.
Oh, thank you.
It is a terrible thing, though, about the man that lost his life in the fire, though, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I never intended for it to happen.
But tell me about the fire itself.
For alarm, Mr. Diamond.
For alarm, huh? Well, why did you deny it when you were arrested?
Reflex, Mr. Diamond, pure reflex. Now, if you had started a fire, no matter how brilliantly, would you admit it, knowing the penalties involved?
But you did.
Well, yes. The evidence was unmistakable. And then when Mr. Fenton, knowing full well that it took a master's hand, said, oh, but no mind, I was caught. What else could I do? And then I've never been one to hide my light under a bushel, as you might say.
Mr. Beanley, do you have any other reason for setting the fire other than the usual one, that is?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, did anyone perhaps pay you to set it?
Mr. Diamond.
Well, no offense, Mr. Beanley. I just thought that someone knowing that you were an expert in the field might have employed you.
Oh, but no. People rarely pay for the finer things. No, as the poet once said, the best things in life come free. No, I fear not. Oh, by the way, have you read this little work, Mr. Diamond?
Well, I rarely find time to indulge my finer instincts. One more question, Mr. B.
Yes, of course.
Now, when you set the fire in the main salon, weren't you afraid Mr. Shoemaker would find it and put it out before it really got going?
No. You see, I closed the door and...
You closed the door?
Yes. And then...
Thanks, Mr. Beanley. Guard? Beanie, you really lit up my day. Well, that story, Mac. Beanie isn't your man. He hasn't the first idea of how the fire started.
Could have been a lapse of memory.
Yeah, but not with a fanatic like Beanie. He'd remember every detail so he could savor it later. Oh, Mac, look, didn't you say the fire started in the storeroom?
Yeah?
Yeah, well, Beanie remembers it starting in the main salon. And look, didn't you say the boys found the door to his office open?
Yeah.
Well, he remembers closing it. Oh, sure he confessed, Mac, after he was told it was one of the greatest fires ever set, the work of a genius. Look, he is a sick, unstable character. Now, there are a million reasons why he'd want to confess. Glory and neurotic imagination, you know the reasons as well as I do.
You may be right, Rick, but you're still a long ways from proving your case. I mean that the fire was a cover-up for the murder.
Yeah, I know that, but it makes the case a lot stronger. Look, Shoemaker wouldn't go along with phoning up one of his client's books, so he had to be done away with. Now, all we have to do is get our hands on those books.
If there's anything in them.
If there's anything in them.
Okay, I'll rush the subpoenas. Tomorrow we'll have the books.
Well, Mac, that's too late. I want them today.
Now, Rick, there's such a thing as due process of law.
It's a fabulous institution, Lieutenant. I'm all for it.
You heard what I said.
Mac, this is me, little Ricky Diamond. When have I ever violated the law?
Well, every time you park your car, for one thing. And, Rick, this isn't just a traffic, but...
I had to find out what was in those books, so... First stop, Saul Prince's Body Beautiful shop. It was ridiculously easy. No wonder he didn't want to give away any trade secrets. What a business. Muscles come pretty high, but I'm afraid there was nothing even faintly illegal. A first-year accounting student could have read Mr. Prince's books and seen that, so... Next stop, Mr. Wilkins, and his Junior G-Man factory. Now, this place was going to be a little harder, but to the ingenious, naught is impossible. This was it, and no question. There were so many irregularities in Wilkins' books it'd take a smarter man than myself to figure out just how much he'd killed old Shoemaker for.
Operator, I want the police. That's right. I want to report a prowler in my factory.
The subpoena could wait. I was taking these with me now. I started out of the place with Exhibit A, the State versus Wilkins.
Just a moment, Mr. Diamond. All right, Mr. Diamond, I want to talk to you.
Who are you kidding, Wilkins? You're never going to get away with it. Why don't you jump? Okay, play hard to get. You hear that, Wilkins? That's the police.
I know, I sent for him.
You sent for them.
I want them in on the kill when I caught a prowler. I can't be blamed, you know, if the prowler was Richard Diamond.
You're a pretty smart boy, Mr. Wilkins, but not smart enough to cover up 2 murders.
Don't bet on that. All right, Diamond, get up. Okay, Mr. Drummond. You okay, Wilkins?
I am not Wilkins. He is. You know, these toy manufacturers, anything for a gag. Last week he got the whole fire department out of bed. Mr. Grace? Now, about that check.